All right, let's see here. Let's kill that. And oh, I didn't clean that up. Okay, there we go. Take a deep breath. All right, so I'm going to switch this over to not the VR headset and instead just go off of the XR simulator because I don't feel like putting the headset on and off all the time. That requires a reload of Godot, but now I should be able to run that. And is it going to do the automatic thing, or am I going to have to turn that back on? No, I'm going to have to turn that back on. So I wish there was an easier way to do this. This is really annoying. History, pipe, grep, vim. Actually, let's zoom in on that. Okay, I don't have that there. Do I have it over here? I might. History, pipe, grep, vim. There we are. I really need to get like the history server doing what I needed to do on these terminals. Oh, this whole like control insert, shift insert is really annoying as well. There we go. So the only way to turn it on and off is to go edit this stupid file. All right, now it should do it. Now if I run it, hands in the air, and it's just gonna automatically run on its own. Sweet. And we got text displaying, probably, in a few seconds. Boom. Awesome. Okay, but I'm gonna do something different today. So now I wanna go and experiment with, let's do a git status-s. And then let's do a git checkout, call -b, ground and sky. Let's create a new branch. And what I want to look up is what's called Terrain 3D Godot. Is this it? I think this is it. What's the license on this? Am I allowed to use this? Yep, MIT license. Nice. Sweet. Then how do you use this thing? What am I going to need to do it? C++ is a GD extension. Can be accessed by GD script, C#. Foliage instancing. Yeah, the second I get this installed, I'm gonna have to immediately put on the VR headset to like calibrate it to where I am. I have been having a lot of problems lately with the VR headset being confused as to whether I'm sitting or standing, which is quite annoying when you launch into the experience and like the thing you're trying to reach for is way above your head or way below you. And then of course it's different from XR Simulator, so then I end up having to move everything in the scene different between the two. So I'll have to figure out why that is. Maybe just change something up. Alright, so up to 10 levels of detail for the terrain mesh, foliage, sculpting, getting started. And real quick, let me just check on making sure everything's streaming properly. Yep. Cool. So, requirements. Supports Godot 4.3. Well, hey, it's a good thing that I'm on 4.3, right? Yeah, 4.3 stable. Yeah, I really wanted to upgrade to 4.4, but that's the problem, is you try to upgrade to something like that, and then what happens if these things aren't supported? Wait. Supports Windows, Linux, and Mac OS. So does that mean it's not gonna support MetaQuest, or is that Linux? Okay, so see the list in the asset library. Okay. Cool. So I wonder. Infinite height map, terrain. Let's see. GPU driven. Yeah, let's give it a go. One file conflicts with your project and won't be installed. What file's that? Is it going to show it here? I'm confused. Well, anything in terrain 3D would be fine. Oh, I don't want the demo, or do I want the demo? I guess I could go with the demo. LS, what do we have here? So I've got my add-ons directory. Do I have a demo directory? No. So that's fine. That's not going to conflict with anything. Oh, icon.png. That might be a problem. Icon.svg. Project.godot. That's the file. Why does it need a project? I mean, I guess is it assuming that you're gonna start from scratch? That seems a little weird to me. Click download. Add-ons and demo. Demo is optional but highly recommended for troubleshooting. All right. Well, maybe I'll just cancel for a hot second, and instead let me start a new Godot project just to test it out real quick, so that way I can literally get everything. Terrain 3D demo. Compatibility, sure. No, I never put things there. Yeah. And now let's try bringing in that asset. What file conflicts? Is it the icon again? You know what? Let's delete that. Sure. What file would conflict? I don't understand. Whatever. Install. Okay. And then what do we do? Project settings. Let's enable it. Project reload current project again. It's a little odd, but okay. Fine. Open demo scene. Okay, I can see that icon is just kind of a, yeah, the person walking icon, so that doesn't matter. So what does this look like actually? Hold on, for the project file. Terrain project. Icon. Okay, so it's kind of weird that it ships with a project file. I don't think it's supposed to. Oh, okay, well that came in. Pressing F6. Or is that, okay, F6 is just to play it, right? Very cool. Can I not leave this area? Okay, that's an invisible wall. Spam the spacebar. Can't climb up that easily. Okay, there we go. All right, fair enough. Position, player. All right. Let's kill that. Let's kill all this. So that's the demo. I'm not going to bring in the demo to my main project. But now I know it at least works. And it works with my engine, works with my computer. So back into reading room. That was pretty quick too. I thought there'd be like another 1 or 2 stupid steps. Let's see here, terrain. Here we are. And we are going to keep the add-on. Yeah, I was gonna say, like, why can't I unselect things? Let's get rid of the demo. Let's not install those either. Cool, let's try that. How does this work exactly? How do I bring in? So there's terrain. And this should all still work, right? Didn't break anything just by being installed. Always worth testing things to be sure. You never know. Sometimes you'll spend 2 hours thinking you broke something and then find out, like, oh no, I just installed a thing that broke everything. Cool. So that's installing. In your own scene, to use in your project, copy to your project folder okay, but I already did that. Or is this part of like the GitHub version of things? In your own scene. But I already, that sentence seems a little weird to me. Take the folder that's already there and move it to the folder that is the same name as its same thing. Maybe it's assuming you have the code somewhere else. I don't know. When making a new 3D scene, add a terrain 3D node to your scene panel. In the inspector, find data directory and click the folder icon to specify an empty directory in which to store your data. Different terrain maps need separate directories. Optionally, click the arrow to the right of material assets and save these as a .trees files. With other scenes. This is recommended. Saving these in the data directory is fine. Sure. Okay, so I guess you can just download it again whenever you want. I guess this assumes that like the best way to install it is from GitHub in a way, because then you can go download it, unzip it, grab the folder, and then copy it over, and in theory that just magically upgrades you. All right, but either way, we need to add a terrain 3D node to the scene. So this is my first time really working with add-ons like this. Okay. No data directory specified. Select a directory, then save the scene to write data. Okay, cool. So it warned me about this. In the inspector, find the inspector. Oh, this inspector, right. Still learning Godot. Data directory. To specify an empty directory in which to store your data. You can share this directory with other scenes that will load the same terrain map. Different terrain maps need separate directories. Okay, so I should create like a folder, subfolder thing for this. So here we have source, like bin, docs, testing. I don't want to put it in add-ons, so let me do, let's call it terrain. and we'll call it main. Oh, maybe do this. Fine, terrain. And then we'll call it main. And that way, you know, later I might create multiple of these, create like a forest one, create a mountainous one, I don't know, whatever. And then give them, you know, descriptive names, and then can use them from there. And then eventually delete main. But for now, main will be my test demo one. There we go. That's done. Okay, that all makes sense now in terms of organizing it. Or learn how to prepare your textures if you're ready to start creating. Upgrade paths. Yeah, speaking of, what is the release cadence for this thing? Not what I wanted. So over here we've got, yeah, what's the 1.0 stable was 2 weeks ago, which I think I knew about that. That's kind of how I found this thing. So what did 1.0 stable bring? Greatly improved 3D projection. Blah, blah, blah. Breaking changes and known issues. Force update maps renamed to update maps and has additional options. Freeze textures in-game to save significant RAM. Disable this if you need them in-game. Okay. Data has been stored in a directory instead of a single file. Thumbnail generation of the mesh assets is a bit wonky. Okay, sure. Let's see here. Yeah, that's more detailed than I thought I was going to get. Oh, it says supports 4.3 and 4.4. $331. Okay, that was 2 weeks ago. Right, fine. But there's two different ones for 3.3 and 3.4. Sure. All right, that is my question. So October 28th. So we're talking October, November, December, January, February, March, April. So 6 months. And then when was the update before that? July to August, September, October. 3 months. It was July, right? February to March, April, May, June, July. 5 months. December to January, February, 2 months. 1 month. 2 months. 1 month. 1 month. Few days. Okay. So the initial release cadence was pretty quick. Like every month or so they were putting a release out, and then things got slowed up for a while. But this really just means like I have no idea what cadence to expect, because since now it's 1.0, for all I know, you know, they could come out every 6 weeks now with new interesting little micro updates to it. Or they could go crawl in a cave for a year and work on some experimental stuff. Or they could call it 1.0 is done, like, hey, it does the thing it's supposed to do, so call it done and move on. All right, so I have no idea when they'll push a new update, is the point. Hopefully they'll at least keep it current with like 4.4.4.5. That's just an important question to know, because I don't want to go down the route of using something and then finding out that like nobody's going to maintain it. And that still could happen, but I don't know. I'm not as paranoid about it. At least I'll go with this for now. So, supports 4.3, okay. But wait, this is not what I... Oh, this wasn't where I was. Okay. But where do I go from here? User interface, or learn how to prepare your textures. Oh, right. You just click on it. Let me just save my scene. After properly installing and enabling the plugin, and select it. This will enable the editing tools. I don't see editing tools. Unlock node, lock node. Add a terrain 3D node to your scene and select it. Project settings. I'm pretty sure. Yeah. Oh. Oh, because I added it again, but I didn't enable it again. Maybe that's why. It's good at bet as any. There we are. That looks right. Okay. Cool. Theirs doesn't have a little lock icon next to it, but that's fine. The tools provide options for sculpting, texturing, and other features. Each button has a tooltip that describes what it does. All right, let's take a quick look. Raise, smooth, height, slope, paint base texture. That's probably what I want. Enable auto shader. Paint wetness. Instance mesh. Okay. First, select the region tool. First one, square with a cross. Okay. Left mouse, I'm guessing that's left mouse button. Control plus left mouse, inverse the tool. Removes region, color, wetness. Okay, cool. So that's like to do and to undo. Shift goes to smoothing. Okay, because I imagine you'll probably dip into smoothing quite a bit. Undo, redo, save. Sure. Slope filter on the bottom settings bar limits the operations based on terrain slope. Don't confuse this with slope sculpting tool on the left bar. Slope filter. Okay. Paint, spray. These operations support filtering by slope. Oh, I see, I see. On the bottom settings bar. Bottom. All right, I don't know what he's talking about, but I'm sure it's here somewhere. Sculpting specific. This lifts or lowers portions of the terrain without affecting higher terrain. Use the selected instance. What does this say? Supports up to 32 texture sets using, sure. You need 2 files per texture set. Compression format. So does it like ship with existing textures, or am I going to be forced to go create my own? Because I've never created a texture before. It can often be identified visually by whether bumps appear to stick out. Generally assume their format and convert as needed. On occasion, artists get it wrong though. So if the lighting looks off on your object, try inverting the normal map. But what do I want? Normal maps come in 2 formats. Inverting the green channel. They can often be identified visually by whether bumps appear to stick. Okay, fine. Does it matter, or does it? Looks like most of them are OpenGL, although Unreal is not. CryEngine. But Blender is going to be OpenGL. So anything I'm making there is going to be like that. Channel pack textures and terrain. You can use our built-in tool to pack textures for you. Terrain 3D tools menu. All right, I think I'm gonna have to go spend a bunch of time learning about textures now. This was bound to happen sooner or later. I was gonna have to start modeling my own stuff. And then pack textures. Optionally, select textures. Optionally, convert DirectX normal map to OpenGL. Channel pack textures with GIMP. Channel pack textures. Take your textures and pack their channels. You can also do this in GIMP. Okay. Where to get textures? Hey, okay. You can make textures in dedicated texture tools, such as those below. There are many other tools and AI texture generators to be found online. You can also paint textures in applications like Krita, GIMP, and Photoshop. Great free tool for generating missing maps, e.g. you only have an albedo texture that you love and want to generate a normal and height map. Material Maker, free open source Material Maker made in Godot. Okay. And then what else? Free. Texture your 3D models in Armor Paint. Okay, fine. There are numerous websites you can download high-quality, royalty-free textures for free or pay. These textures come as individual maps with the expectation that you will download only the maps you need and then channel pack them. Here are a few. What is this? Okay. don't really know how to shop for textures. Herringbone brick. I mean, these are all nice. I like them. Don't really know what I'm doing. Category terrain. So if I just do rocky terrain, muddy brown leaves. No. Let's see, what do we got? Forest leaves. Very nice. For Blender, so this was Polyhaven textures. What is Polyhaven? The public 3D asset library. Models. What is this? HDRI? I don't get it. What's an HDRI? Hold on. Okay, somebody gets banned. All right. All right, so I don't know what these things are. That's fine. Let's go back one tier. So they have a Blender add-on. They have a gallery. Support us. About. Yes, all of our assets are released under the CC0 license, Creative Commons 0, which I think just means you can use them for absolutely any purpose, including commercial work. Can I include these assets in a product I sell? Yes. The only thing you can't do is claim to be the original author or relicense them. Please make it clear to your customers that these assets are free and public domain, and if possible, include a link to Polyhaven. If your product sells well, consider supporting the creation of these assets on Patreon. Yeah, I mean, well, if I somehow launch this thing and it ends up being super successful and I make a bunch of money, then yes, things like Polyhaven as well as Godot and other and Blender and, you know, probably kick some money to all of them. Can I train an AI with your content? Do you do commissions? Oh, okay. 16K resolution and always unclipped. I'll have to look up what an HDRI is. Handcrafted. Cool. I love it. Amazing. Hey, this looks like a lot like Polyhaven. You guys have to hire the same web dev. Free 3D assets for everyone. Okay. What about you? So one of the largest sources of free PBR materials. PBR. Yeah, create a common zero. Yeah, I mean, of course, anything they're going to list from here is probably in that category. This has pricing. Well, actually, what was the pricing? So these are all the free ones, right? I like how they have it visualized. You gotta create an account, which I don't love. And that's all for the free ones. Okay. You obsess over every detail from the grain, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Free sample. Okay. Another free account. Okay. So it seems like these two probably just start with Polyhaven for the moment. Regular textures are now supported from the latest version. However, if you want a realistic terrain with height blending and roughness, you need to channel pack textures. Channel packing is a very common task done by professional game developers. Has channel pack textures. When you download texture packs from websites, they provide individual textures so you can pack them how you want. They are not intended to be used individually. We provide easy 5-step instructions for packing textures with GIMP, which takes less than 2 minutes once you're familiar with the process. Most terrain textures like grass and rock and dirt do not need these. Good to know, because I'm largely going to be using grass, rock, and dirt, at least initially. All materials in Godot are just shaders. Godot already has tools for settings to manage textures, normal, height, and rough maps, etc. I think if you were implementing it, you would find, as we have, that standard materials are both inadequate and overkill for terrain. Inadequate because it doesn't provide all the functionality we need. Materials are just a shader, and we'd have to rewrite it anyway. Overkill because we don't need SSS, clear code, backlighting. If your thought is that doing this would allow one to use any and all features of a standard material on the terrain, then you really haven't thought about the complexity of implementation. That code doesn't exist in the engine anywhere. Someone has to write it. We wrote a far, far simpler version focused on the needs of a terrain. During implementation, we could possibly take in materials that take the textures and settings we need from it. We'd only use the needed features, which means this choice would provide the user with 50 material options, and only 10 would be functional, and they'll have to guess or read the docs to figure out which ones work. So no standard materials will not be used. Here are the things on the roadmap that might fulfill needs. And they're all things that have been merged already. When is this from? Okay, 2023. Weird. That's kind of funny that, like, interesting. Issue number 199. I guess, like, because it seemed like mid-early 2023 was when they started the project, and they had 200 issues. That makes it seem like maybe they started sooner. Or at least maybe that was, well, I'm going off releases, so who knows when they started it. Actually, that's one thing I didn't do. Let me go look at active development. So what branches they have. So they've got release branches. They have 1.0 and 1.0 Godot 4.3. So actually this means I should be able to go to 4.4 if I wanted to. They only have 6 branches. That's good. Let's see here. 8 hours ago. Pretty good on the active development. Well, hold on. 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago was... I think it was like the 31st, right? Yeah. So, right at the end of March, they did a release. But that probably doesn't include the stuff from the 30th. They probably froze a few days before, maybe, for testing purposes. Update main to Godot 4.4. Okay. So they did that. Well, actually, is there anything here about striking release 1.0? It's a pretty frequent development, I'd say, actually. So Godot 4.4, remove some things, update docs. Where did they update the docs to? Update demo, fix, loading, new directory. Release 1.0. Okay, so can I do a doc conf? Doc conf let's go let's do blame. Let's go to this. Let's go parent, browse files, doc conf blame. 6 months ago, October. Really? Hold on. So 6 months ago, they version bumped. Okay. And they're going from 1.0 to 1.1, which he did 2 weeks ago. Okay. So they've been working on. So they didn't just like strike version 1.0 and release it like the next day. Fix double precision, blah, 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 add 64-bit. And then what about PRs? May 8th, that's not going to happen. 2 weeks ago. Fix for C sharp bindings. Region streaming. Alright, well, I'm getting distracted. I'm just kind of going down a rabbit hole here. But I do need to kind of understand this library in order to use it, so. In any case, why they support materials, and then here's a bunch of features that were coming up when they added them all. What were they? Add a channel packing tool, separate surface list resource, support custom uniforms, implement 3D project. All right, whatever. All right. Preparing textures. Okay. Okay, so this is if I go pull down textures from here, I then need to go through these steps to prepare those textures to use them. Okay, and then this is the user interface. Here's how to use it. Tool settings. Depending on which tool is selected on the toolbar, various tool settings will appear on the bottom bar. Asset dock houses the list of textures and meshes available for use in Terrain 3D. The contents are stored in the Terrain 3D assets resource shown in the inspector. Huh? I mean, that's more than enough terrain for what I would need. Might even be too much. Oh, here's the texture. I wonder. Okay, so if I install the demo is going to have textures. Let me just save. And then let's go back into this and see what kind of textures we're dealing with here. Just so I understand things a bit better as I begin my journey of learning about textures. Speaking of, Interesting. So if we do terrain, okay, that took a moment. So that one's not selected, nor is that one. Whoa. But those are. And we have two textures, the cliff and the grass. And this grass texture see here I'm selecting terrain 3D. So how do I, okay, I click the edit button. But where is that from? It's probably in demo here. So we have a ground texture PNG. And we have a ground. And then we have got rock PNG and rock. I mean, for starters, like I just kind of need this. I don't really need much else. Well, I don't really need much of the rock. Whoa. Interesting. Okay. All ambient CG assets are provided under Creative Commons CC 0. So this is ambient. Yeah, I don't see the cliff. Models, rock tunnel, which has its own scene. Ambient CG. Where do we go from here? Main toolbar. Fine. Right, ambient CG was the second one next to Polyhaven. Gotcha. So this is what was downloaded, and this is the grass material. That they used. Which means, like, I could probably pull this in directly. At least just experiment with it. Okay. So I could do copy -R. What's it called? Terrain. Demo. Assets. Textures. To terrain main. Okay, cool. So now we have textures folder there. So if I kill that, accidentally close the demo scene. This takes like a minute, right, to like load in. Probably because of how heavy it is. What did they say before? It was like F8 or something like that, or F6. F6. Right. Oh, because it wasn't on 3D mode. It was on script mode. Duh. Okay. That's all fine. That's all well and good. Oh, yeah, what's the errors here? Fine. Quit to project list. All right, let's do a texture. And we need to load a texture, which is going to be ground. And then this one is, let's load this one. Hopefully this isn't this tedious every time. Oh, that worked. Okay, weird. Let's call it ground. Oh, that like applied immediately. So then well, fine. We have ground now. So what happens if I run it? That's going to work. And then will it actually run on the headset? That's the next test. Let's switch to compatibility and restart. And then let me see if this works. Yeah, that's gross. once again, the VR headset's not going to work. Because I need to like reset the connection, which always takes like 5 minutes because what the hell, meta? Maybe I can figure out the cocktail for this. Control Delete. Task Manager. Let's go find like what's the right thing to kill here. So kill that, and then where's meta again? So that's Oculus. Wasn't there MetaQuest Remote Desktop? What if I end task on that? Now we still, that killed a lot of things. Now we still have this Oculus and OVR. But I wonder now, if I plug this in and then I start the MetaQuest app, is it going to be happy again? It didn't launch. Okay, so I broke it. Cool. So that's good to know. Ending task on that doesn't get auto restarted. I think this one might be the... When I've ended task on that, now we've got like the service launcher or whatever. So yeah, it brings itself back up. Oh, there we go. So now it's like starting itself. It sees the device, fine. Now maybe it'll work. I got an error message, but it looks like it's loading. Come on, big money. Okay, so it's at least I'm getting an error message this time, which is good. And now let's try again. Now it's again trying to load the experience. Okay, there we are. So nice. Okay, so we have ground. It looks like hot garbage. Where is my controller? Oh, there it is, not where I expected. Okay, if I grab the book and I drop it, it just goes on the ground. Okay. So that works. So it does work in MetaQuest, but it looks like trash. So let's look at that. Let's look on their docs. Renderer? Supported platforms. Operating systems. iOS, Android. And then renderers. Godot and Train 3D work fine on macOS. iOS. Use textures that Godot imports. So Android, that should be the meta quest, but it doesn't. We're not specifically saying it here. There's a texture artifact affecting some systems using the demo DDS textures by using PNGs as noted above, but isn't confirmed. See, I wasn't getting errors. I was actually just getting like weird grossness. Includes web build, but web exports are very experimental. Fully supported on Vulkan. Direct 12 was merged into Godot 4.3. It's an engine bug, upstream issue. Okay. So that's them waiting on that. Metal. It's not yet supported. No testing has been done. Mobile. The forward Vulkan mobile renderer is fully supported. The OpenGLS 3.0 compatibility renderer is fully supported. And Godot 4.4. A small set of shader preprocessor statements are used to override. This allows the shader to work with the compatibility renderer without intrusive changes. So it's saying compatibility should be fine. Enable project settings, renderers, project settings, renderers, rendering. Yeah, textures. VRAM compression. Import etc ASTC. Oh, it's re-importing assets. So if I give this a moment and then save and restart, I wonder if that'll do anything. Maybe. Now. So compatibility is just kind of washed out here. Oops. Darn it. Still ugly looking. So I don't think that did it. But now if I switch it back to mobile, it's probably going to look fine. Yeah, that looks fine. So why is it all washed out? Okay, well, one thing I can do, I can go to the issues, which I haven't read any of the issues yet. It's always good to see, like, what are people complaining about. Potential misuse. Okay. Five days ago, but hey, it seems like they've acted quickly on it, which is great. Textures won't load in mobile renderer. This is the opposite of my issue, right? Because my issue is mobile looks great. Interesting. So this person's showing compatibility, and compatibility looks good. So I wonder if... Oh, also, am I getting any... And if I run this... I'm gonna leave that there. So I got a max distance reached. What else do we got here? Hold on. OpenGL API 3.3. Compatibility. It does say it's using the RX 5080, so it's not actually using the GPU on the VR headset. That could be a problem. I don't know. Does not meet the minimum version for this runtime. See, I've seen other people with this error though, so I'm not really worried about that. So I guess it's like I'm asking for 3.3, but it's finding 4. I don't know. Yeah, all that's expected. All right, so nothing unexpected. What about the directional light? Oh, interesting. Does it have its own directional light? Is that the deal? If I go to mobile, I probably don't need a directional light, question mark? Ah, interesting. So if I go to mobile and then MetaXR and I run that, is this going to look okay? I mean, everything's darker. but it at least works. And then if I switch it over to compatibility and run it on the headset, let's take a look at that. Yeah, actually, this looks great. Yeah. The texture is very... First time, the letter spacing's terrible. And the floor is what? Below somehow? Alright, whatever. That doesn't matter. None of that matters. Keep popping that out. What time am I at? Hour and a half. Alright. Might stop soon. Okay, so maybe I just turn off the directional light. That's the issue. And I'll figure that out later. I'll like what to do with that. And then and then with the terrain, yeah, they said something about the slope on the texture, right? Doesn't give the same scene file issue, many leaked rids. Unclose. Group uniforms. More shortcuts. Tagged as future. So they've got 60 open, but 334 closed. That's impressive, I must say. And let's see here. 5 days ago, a week, 2 weeks, 2 weeks, a month, February, January, December. So they, for the most part, keep on top of things. It seems like anyway. Well, actually, I don't know that. Hold on. And then we got November, October, and then some stuff from like July and August. But they all well tagged and organized, so it does seem like the devs have structure to what they're doing. And then closed issues. 9 hours ago, 5 days, last week, 2 weeks, 2 weeks, 2 weeks, last week, 3 weeks ago, last month. Yeah, okay. So they do stay on top of things. March, February 8th is the oldest one from page 1. Wow. Okay. So that's basically to say, you know, this one from January, it's been marked future, which means they're not doing it right now. This February 7th one, like either they're probably either working on it or like again, these things here in the backlog, yeah, this is stuff that's all backlog now. This is stuff they're going to get to eventually. Hey, some of it they've tagged as 1-1. Okay, so that means it's like stuff that they've done, they just haven't closed it yet. because once 1.1 goes out, then they'll merge they'll call these done, and then the future ones are for future. So actually, a lot of these they have in fact done, which means of these 60 open ones, a bunch of them are probably for 1.1, and then some of these new ones just either haven't been, well, I mean, it looks like they triage immediately. So we got 5 comments, 13 comments. So they're actually actively working on this. And if we go to page 2, I hate when it does. That's like a bug with GitHub, I think. There we go. Page 2, we got 1.1 future, 1.1, 1.1, 1.1, 1.1, 1.1. Lots of 1.1s actually. In fact, some of these are from 2023. And then a bunch of futures and 1.1s actually. So, okay, so they finally released version 1.0, which is like the first like stable version of this that they felt about. And then this says to me that they've got a big backlog of things that they wanted to do that weren't critical. But those things are all making it into 1.1. And so when 1.1 goes out, of these 60, like half of them are going to get knocked out immediately. That's cool. What's this one? Comments. When is 1.1 going to go live is the question. I mean, I guess that's the question of like, I mean, sure, if I dug into the comments enough, I could find out like when is 1.1 coming. All right, I don't need to go through all this. That's okay. So now I'm actually thinking 1.1 is probably going to come out sometime in the next couple months, and it probably is going to have like significant improvements. It's going to be like very much worth upgrading to. That also means don't stress it. Like, take what they're giving me, be happy. Oh yeah, so I wanted to actually read their docs a bit more. Okay, all this is good. Supported platform is fine. I could check their demo project and see what they did lighting-wise there. Oh, I probably could do the light and then just like not have it affect the same layer. Maybe I'm sure you can layer the lighting. And just say like, hey, this lighting only affects objects on a certain layer. But I'm not going to worry about that until I bring in the skybox stuff, because I'm willing to bet skybox, which, what is that? Godot Sky 3D, probably. I think it's from the same group, right? Tokusai. Yeah, Tokusai Games. Oh, they got a nice website for it. Let me find out about Tokusan. This probably has a release. Let me go take a quick look at this. Godot 4.3. Not compatibility yet. Okay. That's a little bit of a problem for me because compatibility is what I'm using for the headset, but I don't know if that's like when I go to deploy it to meta properly. I don't know if that's what I'm actually going to need, or whether or not, whatever. Let's see how much active development this is getting. Automatically rotating sun, moon, stars with moon phases. Yeah, this is what I need. Dynamic atmosphere, fog, and clouds that change with the day cycle. Yes. Management of game time, current time, day length, day or night. Yeah, this is exactly what I want. Clone or download the repository and run Sky Demo to test it. Yeah, okay. Into the project add-on directory, plugins. Usage. Create or open a scene. Remove any existing world environment node. Create a new Sky 3D node. They've got a Discord server, which I'll probably need to join. Blah, blah, blah. This plugin was originally written for Godot 3 in GDScript and C#. That was deleted. We revived it, porting the GDScript version to 4. Have continued to build on it, right? But is it C# or C++? Last month. 200 commits. So I want this. I want it. But I'm not sure it's actively being developed. So, nothing in April, nothing really in March, some February work, some January work. I wonder how far this is off from being actually ready. They've got a Godot 3 branch 2 years ago. Okay, so this is the old thing. So main's what they're going off of. Pull requests. Compatibility fix. What else we got? And then what about the issues? Alignment of stars is inaccurate. Moon phase is wrong. Support the compatibility render. December. All right, this might be a problem. I worry then that there's two branches. Yeah, I worry that they're not actually really supporting this. I mean, I'm sure they will, but it feels like they're preoccupied with getting Terrain 3D. Like, they're putting a lot of energy behind Terrain 3D. They got 35 contributors on it, whereas this has 5, and I'm willing to bet it's the same contributors. In fact, one of them is possibly like an automated build tool. This is not getting the same love. Okay. What do we have in the asset library for this kind of thing? Let me just go skybox. This is skybox. Sky comes up with material viewer. Moon. Sun. Tree 3D. Sunshine cloud system. Yeah. All right, I'll come back to that in a second. So got you. So okay, so that means they're actively, it's cool that they're open sourcing things, but they're actively working on a game while doing this. That's what this says to me. And so wherever they're putting energy in, that's where they're fixing things. So they're probably spending a lot more time on the terrain, I imagine, because in a typical game, you're going to spend a lot more time looking down at the ground and things around you with trees and rocks and stuff like that, and pathfinding and all those things. And you're not really going to be looking up at the sky too much. So that probably explains why they've neglected it. But what that means also then is I could see them spending a few more months on the terrain stuff, and then all of a sudden something sky becomes important and they put a bunch of energy into the sky stuff. And terrain stuff's written in C++. And then this is the beautiful sky stuff. So, I mean, I could use it. I don't need anything fancy, right? I'm not really trying to do crazy stuff. So as long as I can get it to work in a simple way, it's probably okay. So they have a YouTube channel. I probably want to watch some of their videos. 5,000 subscribers. I'll subscribe to them. Why not? I may have already watched this video, actually. Godot devlog. I'll watch those 3 videos. Godot 3D ARPG, work in progress. A year ago. Well, no, 3 years ago. So they're just still cranking on that game. All right, but It's good to subscribe to them anyway, because when they put out new videos about these things, that'll matter. I may check out their Discord. A public demo. It's cool. I like it. July. Okay. Yeah, I'm mostly putzing around. I'm not really actually working right now, it seems like. And I'm gonna have to stop soon. What did I want to find out about them? I wanted to see what else did they got on GitHub. Oh, they have this as a person, not an organization. All right, fair enough. Terrain 3D, Sky 3D, those are there too. You know what? Sky 3D, I'm going to star it. Give them the bonus there. An add-on that brings jiggle bones to Godot that automatically creates NLA tracks. Okay. I think I will stop here. And yeah. And then just pick this up later. Gotta go grab lunch and whatnot.